What's up, ladies and gents? Hopefully you've all had a good day. So I wanted to talk about someone that I've spoken about a lot on my channel, that being Mr. Jonathan Joly, obviously. But not quite an infamous name. Someone that I've spoken about a lot on my channel I would say for good reason. When I look at when I see Jonathan Joly, the first thing that comes to mind is total pervert and total child predator. There's a lot of things that come to mind, and an innocent man isn't one of them. I think, I won't say that he's a massive pedo because obviously that's going way too far. But I do think that that he's gone a little bit too far. You're not calling him a paedophile without any actual proof. But I don't think that calling him a pervert or a child predator is really going too far because I think he's kind of shown that he is a bit of a pervert in a way. You know, these thumbnails that he uses for his videos. I would say that a fairly good proof of the fact that he's a massive pervert and a massive child predator. You know, um, the thing that I think concerns me more than anything else and worries me more than anything else is the fact that so many people are defending him. You know, when he's using thumbnails that are so disgusting and so gross, to put it mildly. It is it is sad what it is really, really, terrible what he's doing. The thing that I'm really kind of struggling to understand at the moment is why he feels the need to have his 8-year-old child in thumbnails with her mouth and legs wide open. And it amazes me that people can't see anything wrong with that. Like, it's like, how can people look at that and not think there's anything wrong with that? It's absolutely disgusting. Especially when you think about why he uses thumbnails like that and what he's trying to do with that. You know, it's quite scary to be honest. Knowing that he as a father thinks it's acceptable and okay to use thumbnails like that. I think we all know the big reason why he uses them. I think a lot of it comes down to wanting those negative reactions, because he knows that he's always gonna get a lot of negative reactions for using thumbnails like that. He knows that people will definitely call him out for using thumbnails like that and question why the fuck he's using thumbnails like that. And that's basically what he wants at the end of the day. It's basically what he's doing is rage baiting. He does finish with Jonathan, and this has been a thing, and there's always been a thing with them, and it's something that a lot of family vloggers, not all of them, but some of them know to do. They like to do a lot of things that they know that they'll get, and they know they'll get a lot of negative reactions for, and that's what they do. And only Jolie's are a prime example of two idiots that love doing the things that they know they'll get negative reactions for, and that's why Jonathan, that's one of the reasons, but not the main reason as for why Jonathan uses the thumbnails. The main reason is he's trying to attract and appeal to child predators and pedophiles. We're talking about a guy here that sat in that obviously when Stacey Dooley did that documentary with him, he basically sat there on camera and went, well, I don't think there's anything, basically, he didn't think there was anything wrong with pedophiles watching videos with kids. That's basically what he said. And that's why I have such a negative opinion, of him, is because he sat there on that documentary when Stacey Dooley asked him, how he would feel if he knew that there were paedophiles watching videos of his kids. And he basically said that he didn't think there was anything, he didn't really see anything wrong with that. You know, that's basically why I have such a negative opinion of him. Is purely for that reason. And also when you watch that video that they did years ago, when Amelia was a baby, he was feeding her the yogurt and everything, and he was sexualizing that. Like, it was so disturbing. I'm not saying that I'm in no way saying that he's a massive paedophile, but there's a lot about him that tells me he's an absolute sicko. I think we all know that he's a very sick-minded individual. So I don't think it's unfair to say that he's not right in the head. I think I think we know. I think we all know that. You know, that the proof. The proof is out there. That there is plenty of proof that he's not right in the head. You know, um, and I think the same would be said for the people that he's trying to defend him. There's no one in their right mind would defend someone like him. You know, as I say, I mean, it's not so much that he's exploiting kids, but it's more the fact that he's basically pedo baiting basically making a pedo light handy. That's basically what he's doing. He's basically making his children light handy for pedophiles and child predators out there on the internet. That's what he's been doing for a very long time. You know, that's why you only ever see the three daughters in the thumbnails and everything, is because he knows that they're the ones that will attract and appeal to these online pedophiles and child predators. He ain't fucking silly, we all know that. He knows exactly what he's doing. And I think the worst thing about it is I think both Jonathan and Anna probably know that what he's doing is wrong, and they know that he probably shouldn't be using these kind of thumbnails that he's using for his videos. I think they both probably know how wrong that is, but they just don't really care. They know it's wrong. They know it will get a lot of negative reaction, but they just don't care. They want to get that negative reaction. They want to be. It feels like they actually want to be called out. This is the thing with Jonathan. It's like when he does things like this, it feels like he wants to be called out. It feels like he wants to get that negative reaction from people, and he knows that the thumbnails are always going to get that negative reaction. There's a lot of people, look at these thumbnails and question why the fuck he's doing this. I think anyone with an ounce of common sense would look at those thumbnails and question why the fuck he's got his 8-year-old daughter in thumbnails with her mouth and legs wide open. Anyone with any decent person would, look at that and think, what the fuck? What the actual fuck is he doing? No sensible person would defend a man like him. It scares me the fact that people can't see that what he's doing is wrong, and how bad it actually is. Like, it just amazes me at times, and it baffles me that people think that he's not doing anything wrong and don't think there's anything wrong with these thumbnails when we can all see how bad they are. I mean, I've reported the thumbnails. I report practically every video that he uploads to YouTube purely because of the thumbnails, but YouTube, won't do anything about it because they don't give a shit. You know, they don't care about things like that. They don't see anything wrong with the thumbnails. They they don't see things the way that we see them. They don't have the same viewpoint that we have. We know that the thumbnails are really bad. We know that he shouldn't be using these thumbnails. We know that it's wrong that he's got his 8-year-old daughter in thumbnails with her mouth and lips wide open. We can all see how disgusting and inappropriate that is. You know, and at the end of the day, it has got to stop. But it won't stop. It won't stop until someone actually steps in and actually decides to do something about it, which is what they need to do. Someone needs to step in, and actually talk to him about what he's doing with these thumbnails and actually make him realise that he needs to stop what he's doing. He needs to stop using these thumbnails that are so disgusting and inappropriate. Make it clear to him that he's not going to keep getting away with that, because he shouldn't be allowed to keep getting away with that. That's what really pisses me off about this, is the fact that he's basically using these thumbnails that are so disgusting and inappropriate, and he keeps getting away with that every single time. He never gets into any trouble for that. He gets away with it every single time. And he shouldn't be allowed to keep getting away with it. He shouldn't be allowed to keep, he shouldn't be allowed to keep thinking he can get away with using thumbnails that are so disgusting and inappropriate. It's about time he was actually held accountable for that. I don't care if people think I'm being harsh, but he needs to be held accountable for that. Someone needs to be having a serious conversation with him about what he's doing, and needs to be making it clear to him that he can't, he shouldn't be using thumbnails like that. Someone has to do something. It's like, at the end of the day, it has to stop. He obviously doesn't do. He knows what he's doing is wrong, but he doesn't give a damn. Anna probably knows what he's doing, but she doesn't give a shit. She's the one who, as his mother, should be putting a stop to what he's doing. I should be telling him to stop using these thumbnails that are so fucking disgusting and absolutely inappropriate. It's like when you dive back, right, and you watch through and you look at the not really watch the videos, but you look through all of the videos and you look at the thumbnails. It makes me feel physically sick. It's so disgusting and so sickening when you look through his channel and you look at all of the videos that he's uploaded and you look at the thumbnails of the videos. It's amazing that people are continuing to defend the man and defend this guy constantly using thumbnails that are so bad. I mean, I know he himself out a lot for a lot of reasons, but at least they don't use disgusting thumbnails, the sort of disgusting thumbnails that Jonathan uses for every time they upload a video. You know, I mean, the last few thumbnails they've used haven't been that bad. In all honesty, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, Jonathan's a massive pervert and a massive creep. But is he worse than Chris? Probably not. I would say that he's just as bad as Chris, but he's not worse than Chris because obviously I don't think he's ever done anything like what Chris did. Obviously, sending sexually inappropriate messages to teenage girls. But I'm not going to talk too much about that in this video because that's not obviously related. That's not relevant to this video. Obviously, that will be, if I wanted to talk about that, I'll do another video talking about that. But this video is mainly aimed at Jonathan Joly and the sicko that he is. And it's aimed at those people that are defending him, trying to defend him every single day. Because the guy's a fucking crack. The guy's a fucking creep in every single sense of the word. And I don't get how people can't see that, as it's staring people right in the fucking face. He's an absolute pervert and a child predator in every single way. I don't think that's taking things too far to say that he's a pervert. Saying that he's a pervert and a child predator. I'll keep saying I'll shout that from the rooftops. As I said, I won't go as far. I won't go as far as to brand him as a paedophile, because that would be taking that definitely would be taking things way too far. And I know that you shouldn't be, and I know that it's probably illegal to really be, to be branding someone as a paedophile without any real concrete proof of, proof that they are a pedo. But I think there's enough proof out there there's enough evidence out there that proves what sort of child predator and pervert Jonathan Joly is, and proves how much of a creep he is. I think that's been very clear to see for a long time. People just need to wake the hell up and start seeing him for the sicko that he actually really is. And we all know he's an absolute sicko. And Anna's just as bad for the fact that she's letting this happen. She's not, this is the thing, Anna's not completely innocent in this. If she's the one that's enabling him to do this, she's the one that's letting this happen. And she as a mother should be fucking putting a stop to it. So she is going to be dating she's dating all that as well. Because, you got to question why the fuck she as a mother is so okay with him using thumbnails like that. Why is she as a mother so okay with the fact that he's got their 8-year-old daughter in thumbnails with her mouth and legs wide open? How is she not absolutely going mad over that? That's what really deeply concerns me, is that she as a mother is so okay with that. And the fact that she as a mother isn't putting a stop to it. Which is what she should be doing. People have told her to put a stop to it, and she just doesn't give a shit. And she never ever will, nor will Jonathan. They both know that what he's doing is wrong, but they certainly don't give a shit. And I don't think they ever will give a shit, to be honest. Simple as that. So I hope you enjoyed this video anyway. I'll see you for another one soon. Bye bye.